Madrid fans, we have some interesting news for you all. Today, Thierry Henry expressed insights on Real Madrid's challenges with their current lineup, particularly focusing on how the dynamics among key players like Kylian Mbappé, Jude Bellingham, and Rodrigo could affect the team's balance. Henry praised Rodrigo's role last season, noting how his work without the ball contributed to Real Madrid's defensive stability, even if he didn't match Vinicius Jr.'s efficiency in attack. With Mbappé now in the picture, Henry suggested that finding the right roles for Bellingham and Rodrigo while maintaining team balance would be a tough task for manager Carlo Ancelotti. Ancelotti has also been managing the integration of these players, especially as they adapt to new tactical roles. Recently, he commented on Bellingham's versatility, praising his ability to create opportunities and suggesting that Bellingham would need to adapt further to suit Real Madrid's playing style. Thierry Henry recently critiqued Real Madrid's dynamics, focusing on Kylian Mbappe's lack of movement and Jude Bellingham's intense workload during their latest match. After the 3-1 loss to AC Milan, Henry noted that Bellingham, not Mbappé, was repeatedly making aggressive runs and breaking lines, showing visible frustration by kicking a bottle after being substituted. Henry empathized with Bellingham's frustration, explaining that Mbappe's stagnant play limited Real Madrid's fluidity and added unnecessary pressure on Bellingham. Henry also challenged Mbappé to adapt to a true number 9 role, a transition that has been slow given his reliance on individual brilliance rather than link-up play. He suggested that while scoring is essential, simply netting goals isn't enough for a club like Real Madrid, where fans expect comprehensive performances. Henry believes this lack of team synergy, exacerbated by Rodrigo's absence, is becoming a major hurdle for Ancelotti. Thierry Henry's recent comments on Kylian Mbappé and Jude Bellingham bring up the question of their roles and responsibilities in PSG's system. Henry highlighted Mbappe's position struggles, particularly when tasked with playing as a central striker, a role he has openly expressed is not his ideal fit. Henry argued that, as a champion player, Mbappé should bring will and desire even when positioned outside his comfort zone. Henry further remarked on Bellingham's increased workload, saying Bellingham was the one making the intense runs and defensive efforts typical of a forward, while Mbappé remained more static. This discrepancy, Henry observed, could lead to frustration for both players, particularly if Bellingham's energy is being taxed due to his partner's positional preference. This perspective aligns with broader concerns over Mbappe's recent career choices. His continued tenure at PSG, despite repeated overtures from Real Madrid, has seen his game marked by distractions, controversies, and an unclear position which some argue has affected his output on the pitch. Comparisons to players like Haaland and Bellingham highlight that while both younger players have found impactful roles within their teams, Mbappe's situation appears more complicated, especially with PSG's expectations and ongoing challenges in European competition. Carlo Ancelotti is indeed expected to leave Real Madrid by the summer of 2024 to take up the position of head coach for Brazil's national team. Although there were earlier discussions about him potentially leaving mid-season, the transition is now scheduled for the end of his contract. Real Madrid and Ancelotti have not yet made an official announcement as he remains under contract until June, but sources report a verbal agreement with the Brazilian Football Federation. Ancelotti's departure is intended to facilitate a fresh start for Real Madrid while Brazil seeks his experience to rebuild their squad after a challenging World Cup campaign. Ancelotti's decision has reportedly impacted some of Real Madrid's Brazilian players, like Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, who have mixed feelings, both disappointment over his departure and optimism about what he could bring to Brazil's team dynamics. This season, Ancelotti's main focus has been preparing Real Madrid for the ongoing La Liga and Champions League challenges, with hopes of a seamless transition to his successor by summer. At the moment, the club's leaders do not feel anything like they did before saying goodbye to Rafa Benitez or Lopetegui. In recent years, the difficult moments have been overcome. A reaction is needed. The issue of Carlo Ancelotti continuing to coach the team is already on the table of officials within Real Madrid. His could be sacked if the team loses the upcoming games.